June 1942. Just 6 months after Pearl Harbor, the Pacific burns. The Empire of Japan stretches from the Indian Ocean to the edge of Hawaii, and for the first time, America is ready to strike back. Japan's navy believed it was invincible. Its carriers had swept across the Pacific, crushing every opponent. Their next target, a tiny atoll named Midway, barely visible on a map. But to Japan, it was the key to destroying what remained of the U.S. fleet. If Midway fell, Hawaii would be next. Unbeknownst to the Japanese, American code breakers had already cracked their naval encryption. Commander Joseph Rochefort and his team in Hawaii had intercepted messages identifying AF, Midway, as the next target. The Americans set a trap. Admiral Chester Nimitz quietly gathered his carriers, USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and the still-damaged USS Yorktown, outnumbered, outgunned, but ready, June 3rd. The ocean is still. The carriers move under cover of darkness. Men whisper on deck. Pilots check their planes in silence. Some write letters home, knowing many won't return. Far to the northwest, the Japanese First Air Fleet, the most powerful in the world, advances toward Midway. At dawn, Japanese bombers roar out of the sky, slamming into Midway's defenses. Explosions ripple across the tiny island as anti-aircraft guns fire back in desperation. American Marine pilots scramble, but they're hopelessly outnumbered. The Japanese believe victory is certain. But 150 miles away, American carriers are waiting. From their decks, dozens of planes take off torpedo bombers, dive bombers, and fighters, searching for the Japanese fleet. They fly low over the sea, navigating by instinct and luck. Radio silence. Every minute counts. They know one thing. If they fail, Midway will fall. Hours pass. The Pacific seems endless. No ships, no signals, just clouds and waves. Fuel runs low. Pilots scan the horizon, sweating under the glare of the sun. And then, one of them spots something. Smoke on the horizon. Enemy carriers. The torpedo squadrons strike first. They dive straight into anti-aircraft fire, facing impossible odds. 0 fighters tear through them like blades. Out of 30 planes, only a handful survive. Their torpedoes miss, their crews die heroes. It's a massacre. But their sacrifice will open the door for what comes next. As the last American torpedo bomber crashes into the sea, the Japanese believe they've won again. Their decks are loaded with refueling aircraft. Fuel lines snake across the floor. Bombs lie waiting to be armed. They have no idea that high above them, beyond the clouds, the second American strike force is closing in. Pilots from the USS Enterprise and Yorktown spot the enemy below. They roll their planes into attack formation. Engines scream as they dive. The Battle of Midway's fate hangs on the next 5 minutes. June 4th, 1942, 10:20 a.m. The dive bombers from USS Enterprise and Yorktown find the Japanese fleet. Below them, 4 massive carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, glide across the water like floating fortresses. Their decks are alive with activity. Pilots run. Ammunition crews reload. Fuel hoses slither across metal. And then, from the heavens, the Americans fall. The first dive bomber rolls over, then another and another. Their engines scream through the air like banshees. Bombs whistle. Explosions rip through the decks of the Kaga. A single 1,000-pound bomb hits amidships, detonating fuel lines and sending a fireball skyward. Men leap overboard as secondary explosions tear through the hull. In seconds, Kaga becomes an inferno. Another bomb slams into the Akagi, Admiral Nagumo's flagship. The blast destroys her flight deck. Flames race across her bow. Nagumo watches, frozen, as his proud carrier turns into a burning ruin. Soryu is hit moments later. 3 bombs, direct hits. Her hangar ignites, aircraft erupt like firecrackers, and her crew is forced to abandon ship. 3 of Japan's elite carriers are now burning, all within 6 minutes. 6 minutes that changed the Pacific War forever. But one carrier still remains, Hiryu. Her commander, Tamon Yamaguchi, refuses to retreat. He orders a counterattack. Waves of Japanese bombers roar toward the American carriers, aiming for revenge. Their first strike finds Yorktown. High above the sea, Yorktown's radar spots the incoming planes. Enemy aircraft approaching. All hands to battle stations. The sky turns black with flak. Dive bombers slice through the clouds. 2 bombs hit Yorktown squarely, ripping through her decks. Fire spreads. Her engines die. But her crew fights back fiercely, dousing flames and patching holes. For a moment, she lives again. Then, another wave appears. Japanese torpedo bombers. Yorktown's fighters rise to meet them, but too late. 2 torpedoes hit her broadside. The ship lurches, listing sharply to port. Alarms wail. Captain Buckmaster gives the hardest order of his life. Abandon ship. Boats lower into the dark water as Yorktown's great hull rolls slowly. She doesn't sink yet, but her fate is sealed. Meanwhile, the Americans locate Hiryu, the last Japanese carrier. Dive bombers from Enterprise swoop down again, determined to finish the job. Their first bombs smash into her flight deck. A second hits her hangar. Flames engulf the ship. The crew tries to fight the fire, but it's useless. The ocean around her boils with oil and wreckage. Admiral Yamaguchi refuses to leave. He remains aboard as Hiryu explodes. The last of the 4 proud carriers is gone. By sunset, the Pacific is quiet again. The sea is littered with burning oil, drifting lifeboats, and the bodies of thousands of sailors. Smoke rises on the horizon where the Japanese carriers once stood. Out of 248 Japanese aircraft launched that morning, barely a handful return. More than 3,000 Japanese sailors perish. 4 carriers, 1 cruiser, and hundreds of planes gone. The Americans lose 1 carrier, Yorktown, and around 300 men. But they have done the impossible. They have broken the back of Japan's naval air power. For the first time since Pearl Harbor, Japan is on the defensive. Its expansion across the Pacific stops permanently. The once-invincible Imperial Navy will never recover. Historians would later say that Midway wasn't just won by bombs. It was won by information. The code breakers in Hawaii, the scout pilots, the torpedo squadrons who died buying time. Every piece mattered. Every sacrifice counted. Without them, the Pacific might have fallen. In the years after the war, survivors spoke of the eerie silence after the battle. The ocean was calm again, but it carried ghosts. They remembered the smell of burning oil, the cries of the wounded, the faces of friends lost forever. But they also remembered what it meant. A turning point, bought with blood and courage. Midway became more than a battle. It became a symbol of resilience, of strategy, of redemption after Pearl Harbor. When Japan's mighty fleet burned, so too did its illusion of invincibility. From that moment on, America would push westward, island by island, toward ultimate victory. 4 Japanese carriers destroyed, 1 American carrier lost. But the balance of power had shifted forever. Midway wasn't the end of the war. It was the beginning of Japan's downfall. The Pacific would never be the same again. As the sun set on June 4, 1942, Admiral Nimitz sent a simple message to Washington. Pearl Harbor, avenged. Those 4 words carried the weight of thousands of lives and the turning of history's tide.